Call this meeting to order.
What if I sit, you gonna...
I was gonna say something.
Go ahead.
Lay
you
down.
kneel. I'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to our approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting, September 11th. Anybody have any corrections they'd like to make? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the last board meeting, September 11th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the approval of the general fund vouchers, 171-800-96 through 171-80-115, and wire transfers 75-021 through 75-070.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the general fund vouchers as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I didn't see anybody on the list for public comments today. So we'll move on to our first item of new business, which is the approval of our coaching resignation.
Okay. So letter is in there. Brianna Larson was a 6th grade teacher, has decided to step back from her coaching responsibilities in the district and has submitted her official letter of resignation for coaching.
Okay, so I'll read the letter at this time. Dear members of the school board, I am so sorry to say after many hours of agonizing decision making with my husband, we came to the conclusion that what is best for our family after baby is born is for me to take a year off coaching track. My husband TJ unfortunately ended up with a less than ideal work schedule for next year, working noon to midnight. That will really make it difficult to find daycare during those hours if I continue this track season. Also, the track meets, we sometimes end up getting home around midnight as well, which again would make it very hard to find care until that time, especially since we live in Wheeler. We also contemplating being able to bring the baby to track meets on the days that my husband would work, but seeing as sometimes the weather's not always in the best conditions, I feel this would feel very bad bringing a 3-month-old out into the cold spring weather for 6 hours. Please know that this was not an easy decision for me because of my love for track and the track athletes and staff. It has been an honor and a privilege to work alongside Coach Hughes and Coach Niles for the past 5 seasons. My hope for next year when the baby's a little older and my husband's working shift changes, we can make something work. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to coach. I hope that in the future I can be a part of the track team again. Sincerely, Brianna Larson. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the coaching resignation.
Do your second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the coaching resignation of Brianna Larson with many thanks. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And we'll move on to our approval of an FML leave.
After the next page, if you turn, is Miss Brianna Larson again. It's FMLA leave. Her and her husband are due for their first baby in November, and requesting FMLA leave during that time.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the MLA leave for Brianna Larson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to a review of the third Friday pupil count.
Okay. So the third Friday in September, every year, every district in the state of Wisconsin has to do a pupil count and then a report that goes along with it. So I have 2 forms in here. The first form is what's submitted to DPI. So our pupil count, you can see the total count is 627, but that doesn't reflect our actual seats in bodies. In seats. There's a formula. So if you take a look at the next page, kind of has a breakdown of the number of students that are in the district. So for us, if you look at the bottom, at the elementary, we had a total, and these are actually seats in, our bodies in seats for kids. So the pre-K through 6, so the elementary building had 341 students. Our junior high had, our 7th through 12th had 273. And then if you break that down, our high school, our 9 through 12, had 190. So total in the district, there was 614 students. They also factor in individuals that are enrolled out, and that's kind of part of the equation too. That's why our numbers, our total count for the report was 627. So we had 614 students in the district pre-K through 12. We had 58 that were open enrolled in, and then 71 that were open enrolled out. So a couple more than last year as far as our open enrolled in compared to open enrolled out. We had, I think, 5 more open enrolled out last year than we did open enrolled in. So this year there's a little bit larger discrepancy between in and out, but I've decided keeping track of all that and just the open enrollment process in general is like herding cats, and it's just kids are constantly shifting, and it's not unique to Clear Lake District, it's everywhere. But so right now, I would even bet even today those numbers are probably a little different. But on the third Friday count, that's where we're at. So then the next page after that, you can see the breakdown in pupil count. So this is not seats in or bodies in seats. Again, this was our pupil count that was reported to the state. So a little lower than last year, which was 657, but overall, we're still fairly close to where we have over the past 10 years. Dipped a little bit from 2014-15, we dipped down to 602, and then it started coming back up, and now we're kind of right where we were during the 2012-13, 13-14 school years. So.
Josh, what's the difference between the 12th graders last year who went out versus like the pre-KK that came in? Is that part of that difference, that there's a smaller group coming in than we had going out? Yeah, and then if you notice, like in for next year, our numbers are going to be lower, because if you look at our 6th grade, our 12th grade class right now is a 57. That's by far our largest. Right. Our next closest is 52 in the 3rd grade. So we'll see a dip next year, and then hopefully kind of plane off again. But yeah, it'll hurt when we lose these 12th graders this year, because it's a big class. Any questions?
Okay, well, thanks, Josh.
Yep.
So then we'll move on to our superintendent notes.
Okay. So it's been exciting last 2 weeks at both buildings. We had a lot going on. It was homecoming week, so you can imagine kind of all goes in, and Mr. Gillis is going to share on that in a second. But first, I'll just share a couple other items that we had going on in the district. We had Food for America I wanted to talk about. A thank you to Mr. Frenshu and all the workers at the Frenshu Farm, or as the younger Ernst call it, the Shoe Farm. So I got to go over with the kindergarten crew and visit the Frenshu Farm, and I thought your staff did a wonderful job in allowing us to go and tour everything. And then the high school kids, the FFA kids really did a nice job talking to the kids and getting the kids involved in the process and showing them all the different animals. And I think even some of the kids, it's out of their wheelhouse to talk to the little kids, but they all did a really nice job answering some of the unique questions that come with kindergartners that throw questions at them. So I thought they did a great job. It was fun that was my second farm, so it was fun to see from my end too. So and then a thank you to the wood farm as well. It seemed like a lot of the animals in cages or kennels or whatever, makeshift kennels I guess, were from the wood farm that the kids, the high school kids help out with and brought over. And just a funny story. My wife called me that morning and just said, "Josh, you're not going to believe this. would have never seen this in Wausau. There's a runaway cow right now." So as they were going, it was one of the cows. I think Cal Rosine's cow was having a little bit of a rough morning, and I would have been, I think, the first one running in the opposite direction. But there were 10, 15 kids that sounded like corralling this large animal, this large cow, and getting it back into wherever it needed to go, and got them out of there. So. But a huge thank you to everyone. It was a really a neat experience for all the kids to be a part of. And then homecoming week, the homecoming football game was, I know many of you were there. It was electric and a lot of fun. The girls volleyball team the week before had a win at home against Northwood. The end of the week, I was at the Superintendent's Fall Conference, which had a lot of good stuff, legal updates, and Governor Walker. Budget just got signed, so we're going to have a lot of information, I think, coming our way now with different changes in licensures, and then as far as the budget as well. So a lot of that stuff is now set, and hopefully will be coming my way, so I'll be able to start communicating with the staff and with you guys as well. I know the biggest change for the Clear Lake district, and then also all the districts in the state, are the licensures. They're moving from what we used to do is PDPs, and you'd have to work towards renewing your license through DPI. And if you're a professional licensure right now, you're automatically a lifetime. You automatically have a lifetime licensure, and then the licensures themselves have changed depending on what your licensure is. Has changed a lot. So. Will require some changes for us as an admin team, and then some decisions that need to be made for us too, as far as compensation regarding the credits. And it's my intention to keep the credits in place so teachers can continue earning that compensation for credits that they work towards getting. We'll continue as is, even though it won't count towards any additional licensures. Renewing their licensures. Band did a nice job I wasn't able to see it, but the band I heard did a really nice job at the Amory Parade. Without Mr. Larson, who had a health scare but is doing well now. So one of our staff helped out with that, and the kids did a really nice job over there, I heard. So then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gillis to just update us on the homecoming week and everything that went with it.
Sure. It was a crazy busy week. It was really well done. I'd like to say thanks to Mr. Crawford and Mrs. Tronstead. They do an outstanding job with the student council kids, organizing and having all the activities, things ready to go. We had our daily dress-up days. You probably saw some crazy Facebook pictures of that going on. Mr. Crawford organizes a Clear Lake Mr. Guest contest every year, where every day on the announcements there's a clue that goes out to kids, and they're supposed to try to guess who this Mr. Guest is, and then we unveil them at the big pep assembly, which is always fun. We have daily class volleyball tournaments during wrap time, where the sophomores are playing the juniors and all that kind of stuff, and they switch around. Monday night was the big outdoor games, where we have all kinds of stuff planned out in the stadium for the students to do, the kind of the minute to win it type games. And then we had the bonfire, which thanks to the Clear Lake Fire Department for starting it for us and standing around while it burns and standing watch for us. Girls played away twice this week, once at Cameron, once at Prairie Farm. This past week, we had powder puff football at the end of the day on Wednesday. That always is a big hit. It was a beautiful day. All the kids were out in the stands watching that. Let's see, Friday was kind of the big wrap up. We had the band does an outstanding job every morning on the Friday of homecoming week. They march the halls and they're getting everybody fired up with some music. I posted a couple of video clips on Facebook if you got a chance to see those. We have the Pep Fest in the afternoon. John said that was the best one he's seen yet. I have to echo that. Since I've been in Clear Lake, that was the best one I've seen too. There's a lot of fun activities and a lot of fire going on in the gym, so it was a good way to get the kids on their way for the game. We had our homecoming parade. That was well attended like usual. We had all the class floats and the attendants and all those people out there, the football moms and other people associated with all the homecoming activities. We had a great football game. It's always fun to win homecoming, and kind of puts the spirit into everybody when you win. And the halftime show featured a flaming juggler. You got a chance to see that. That was a new twist to the halftime show. And then we were honored to have our high school choir sing the Star Spangled Banner. So they did a nice job with that. And we wrapped it all up Saturday night with a homecoming dance that we had a good 150 kids here for. The place was packed. Probably the best group of school kids I've seen at dances are Clear Lake kids. They engage, they dance, they're well behaved, they're courteous, they just do a really nice job. So it's a great week.
So I've been told that the fire juggler is not a native to Clear Lake, was just a friend. So we're gonna. Mr. Gillis said he's gonna start training for next year's game in case we can't get that individual back.
Chainsaws or something.
Yeah. So overall, I echo what Mr. Gillis said. Just a fun week for the kids, and it really kind of two parts to that. One, the staff does a nice job monitoring and organizing and getting everything set up for the kids, and then the kids do a really nice job just behaving in general. And I got to go to I brought my wife actually just as a quick. I know parents weren't supposed to go, but I thought my wife and I could just quick. I had to show her the outdoor games and the huge bonfire just so she believed me when I was talking about it, and just watching the kids interact and just good fun competition, and you don't have to worry about any inappropriate behavior or breaking out. They just really did a nice job. And the fire again, the bonfire this year was unbelievably huge, same as last year. So
I think it took a little number 2 to get it going though.
Yeah.
It was pretty soaked. It rained downpour all day when they were making the pile. Yeah.
So then just some upcoming events this week. We have junior high volleyball at Elmwood on the 26th, which is Tuesday. On the 28th, we have a home volleyball varsity against Turtle Lake. Junior high football at Shell Lake. Junior high volleyball at home against Turtle Lake. Cross country travels to Spring Valley to run. That's all on the 28th, Thursday. And then Friday the 29th, football plays against Elmwood at Elmwood. And then the 29th we have no school. So we have in-service, no school for students, but in-service we're bringing in a gal by the name of Chris Stratton, who works for CISA, to walk us through, I think I mentioned at the last board meeting, to walk us through unpacking the standards. So looking at the standards for each instructional area, and then kind of looking at how those should fit within your instructional practices. So I'm excited for that. Sometimes can be a little bit of a dry item to go over, but I'm really excited about where it's going to take us long term. So we met with the 3 admin team, met with about 10 teachers to kind of unroll what we were doing a little bit, to share with them. And then from there, we're going to kind of touch base with those individuals as we work through this process and see what the feedback from them, what we get, and then also what kind of needs come out of that and where they'd like it to go, along with some of our ideas of where we'd like it to go as well. So looking forward to that.
Okay, thanks, Josh. All right, well, thanks for coming in. Now we're going to move into our closed session part of the meeting. In accordance with WSS 19.85, paragraph 1C, considering employment, compensation, or performance data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Tonight we're going to be talking about employment, compensation, and performance of an employee. Good night, you guys. I will do a roll call. Nettie?
Yes.
Skip?
Yep.
Myself, yes. Peter?
Yes.
David?
Yep.
All right, we return from closed session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
We need to do future agenda items.
Oh yeah, we skipped that. You got anything, Dave?
Yeah, I got a couple. We talked about it earlier, I think, at our last retreat, about a superintendent evaluation. The last one we decided wasn't adequate. Is that right? We talked about we were gonna come up with a new evaluation for the superintendent, is that right?
I think we did, didn't we, Josh?
Just come up with a new evaluation. I mean, I put it into a Google survey for you guys, and it compiled it.
But afterwards, we discussed coming up with, letting the staff and the public and teachers have some input, so we could have more input as a board. We could get more information regarding how things were going with the superintendent.
I think we talked about that, but we never, as a board, agreed that we wanted all that information coming in.
Well, I think we should put it on the agenda and have a discussion about it then, or make it part of our board retreat.
Okay, we can add that to the agenda. Anything else, Dave?
Well, we have a seminar, we have to attend a seminar, right, to get paid, right? I was thinking, why don't we tie our total stipend to our attendance, so if we miss a meeting, we get docked a certain amount of money. We do like 24 meetings, we get paid about $110 a meeting. We miss a meeting, we get docked.
We can put that on the agenda too.
I do think there's something that exists already about how many you have to be, or what you're, about how many, but we can look into that. But I do think if you look into the board handbook, I think there's verbiage in there already. We should maybe just review it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else? Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Do we hear a second? It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.